Most leadership content tells you what to do. Nobody really talks about how to think. I'm a school principal, and I've spent years learning the hard way. The mindset shifts, the real talk, the things nobody prepares you for. This is the Unspoken Mindset. Real conversations, no fluff, just the truth about what it actually takes to lead. Let's go. Okay, so I want to ask you something. When you became an assistant principal, a dean, whatever leadership position that you just acquired or have acquired, I want to know, did you feel ready when you got that position? Did you feel ready? Because to be honest with you, I did not. I didn't. I can remember all of the things that I did as a teacher to prepare me for leadership. I was a teacher leader, a team leader. My principal gave me opportunities that most teachers probably never will have a chance to do. But because he believed in me, he gave me those opportunities. And then when I was ready to move into assistant principalship, I went to my first interview and I completely bombed it. I was sitting at the table with at least 7 people from either HR or they were principals looking for assistant principals, and I knew none of them. They did not know me, and here I am. They asked me about an acronym. I'll never forget it now. But they asked me about the FCIM. And I was like, I'm not really sure what that is. I didn't say it like that. I don't remember exactly how I said it, but I was taken aback and I realized that I needed to go be readier. So we're talking about readiness today. And I speak about readiness in my book, The Unspoken Mindset, because it is one of those things that I see aspiring leaders ask about all the time. Am I ready? I've been in education for 10 years. I've been in education for 20 years. Am I ready? And a lot of times I respond with, I can't tell you if you're ready. Honestly, there's no way you know if you're ready because you haven't been in the position yet. Readiness is an illusion. So let me go back to my story. Now, I go back into the classroom, but I'm looking at the classroom in a different way. I became an instructional coach. So I should say I went back to an instructional position. And I strategically got this position with this specific principal who was principal of the year and was, going to afford me these opportunities even more than I had received in the classroom because now I'm outside. I'm in a resource position. I am not in those 4 walls anymore. I was very specific with this, right? Because I wanted to be readier. 2 years. I do all of the things. I'm an MTSS coach. I'm a partial math coach. I am the ESE exceptional student education resource teacher. So I'm getting all of these experiences under my belt in those 2 years so that I can be ready. And then it happened. I received my assistant principalship. So now I'm going with the motions of receiving a title and still having no idea what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. I remember my first year. Within that first year, I was already on the phone with HR asking them if I would receive a pay cut and how large that pay cut would be if I went back into my past position. I'd called my previous principal and I asked her, hey, will you welcome me back? Do you have my job? Is it still there? And she was like, well, honestly, I don't have that, but I could probably find something for you. And so I said, all right. She's like, are you serious? I'm pretty sure I can't do this. I feel so inadequate. I don't know how to explain it. And again, remember, I had opportunities that most teachers do not have. I was strategic in what those 2 years of being a coach looked like and where I was. And that I should have been ready. In my head, I should have been ready. But then as competent as I thought that I was, as confident as I was, I had a principal who was amazing. She was wonderful. She knew a lot of things, but she was also a new principal. So now she's working on being a new principal. Now she has a new assistant principal and she's expecting me to come in and get things done. And when I was still confused about what website I even went to or who do I email for this, or I was receiving feedback that I thought that my product was fantastic and she didn't think the same, that was hard for me. So now I'm ready to quit. Let me tell you something. I was confident. You could be as confident as possible, as you could possibly be. And you could have a bunch of trainings, a ton of experience. But If you don't have your mindset ready to combat the inadequacies that you're going to feel, the imposter syndrome that you're going to feel, the lack of resources that you're going to have, or the lack of support that you're going to have, and potentially the lack of training that you're going to receive. I didn't have a coach. Honestly, I didn't even have a mentor. I can't say that I had someone that I could pick up the phone and call and say, hey, what do you do about X, Y, and Z? I had a couple AP friends that had gone through our master's programs together, and I could call them. They were already APs, but in reality, you don't want to look like the incompetent person. So you hesitate and you don't know how much trust you have in people. And so, and I wasn't afforded the opportunity to have ongoing training. We didn't have that at that time, which is why I'm so passionate about providing training early, because you have to do the both. You have to provide training in the skills that you're going to need, and you're going to have to provide training in the mindset shifts that you're going to also have to have. Training and mindset go hand in hand. Training builds skills, but mindset determines whether that becomes leadership or not. That's our reality. We could go into the same training and walk out and interpret it in one way, or walk out and implement it in another way. And also, too, I could reject training. I hate to say that word, but reject training because my mindset isn't in the right space, or I'm not working on my mindset continuously. So I'm thinking back on that year when I was ready to quit. My mindset wasn't there. I wasn't ready to combat all of those things that I was feeling and be able to shake them off. I don't want anyone to sit in the feeling of inadequacy and the feeling of imposter syndrome and the feeling of I wasn't ready, because the reality is you're not. You're never going to be ready for something if your mindset isn't there. Mindset shifts from the readiness illusion to the practice of readiness. And that's what I talk about in my book, because I think it's so important. I would not have been on the phone with HR if I had practiced the mindset shifts that I needed, those pivotal shifts that were needed, moving from instructional to an administrative position, because it's completely different. You are dealing with things that you never could have imagined that you would be dealing with as an administrator. Even moving from assistant principal to principal, it's the same idea for me. I thought I was this amazing and wonderful finalist for assistant principal of the year, and I get into the principalship and I'm having to work on my mindset every single day, right? It is ongoing, which is why in the book we talk about the cyclical framework of mindset shifts. You have to be aware of what you are feeling, where your mindset is, because mindset also changes throughout the year. I'm not going to have the ability to attack the weight of the beginning of the school year as much as I'm going to attack the weight in December. December carries a different type of weight. So if you're not ready for August or ready for April and May, in your mind, you're going to carry it differently. Overall, what I have come to understand after 9 years in administration, and as I've been coaching aspiring leaders and new assistant principals, is that what I was missing wasn't the experience at all. I received the experience. It was just the mindset. Again, if I had my mindset right, I would not have been on the phone with HR. I wouldn't have given them a call. I wouldn't have even thought about it. I wouldn't have picked up the phone and called my previous principal. I would have been able to do all of the things that I needed to do because that came with the job and I was ready to do my job. So here's the readiness illusion. Most new leaders believe that when they receive this title, there's going to be something that's going to miraculously happen in their readiness. They're going to think, now that I'm in this seat, I'll know what to do. You're going to say, hey, I will be certain once I become an assistant principal. But the reality is leadership doesn't create certainty. It creates exposure. And the moment that your role changes, your decisions, your reactions, your emotional responses, they're no longer private. And that is hard when you don't realize the weight of leadership and you think that you're ready for something because now you're more visible than ever before. And that's uncomfortable. There's no readiness that can prepare you for that. Readiness is not something that a title gives you. It's something that you build, that you're intentionally building before that title even arrives. The leaders who thrive early in their roles aren't the ones who feel ready. They're the ones who decide to lead with intention, and they don't wait for comfort to show up. Here's what I want you to sit with today. Where are you waiting to feel ready instead of choosing to lead with intention? That's the question that I ask every leader, every aspiring leader that I work with, because it's the question that's going to open up everything. It's going to open up those mindset shifts that need to take place before you land that position. Discomfort is not a warning sign that you're in the wrong seat. It's evidence that growth is happening. If this hit home, comment below and tell me where you are in your leadership journey. And if you want to go deeper in this, pick up The Unspoken Mindset, What No One Tells You About School Leadership on Amazon. Let's work on your mindset so you're not on the phone with HR after your first year too. Subscribe so you don't miss any of these videos. This is The Unspoken Mindset with Joyce Conley Hemmings. And I hope that this resonates with you, and I will see you next time.